Hello and welcome to Boomer Live. Of course, we are here after a high octane clash between India and Pakistan. Oh, what a game of cricket that was! It went down the wire, and there was one winner in the end. It was India. All the Indian fans are definitely happy after this result because it could have gone any way. At this kind of start which Pakistan got with the ball. That's the thing with Pakistan, right? Even with the smallest of totals, they make a game out of it, and that's exactly what they did. I have Jared and Sandibani with me here. Welcome both of you gentlemen onto the show. I'll get to Sandibani first up. Sandibani, it was one of those games, right, where you didn't know what was a good total to really post on, what was a really good total to actually even chase. How pleased will be India after this victory? Your initial thoughts on this victory?
I think India are definitely going to be very pleased. I think yesterday I mentioned that 140 to 150 will be a par batting first on this track, but Pakistan should have definitely, with the start that they got. I mean, they lost Babar Azam quite early. They had a
Yep.
horrible start actually because they like one thought that they lost Rizwan as well, but then that successful review after the successful review they sort of stabilized. It The way Fakhar Zaman got out at the wrong moment. I think Fakhar Zaman, if he could have sort of, if the two of them, Rizwan and Fakhar Zaman, could have gone on till the 10th over, I think it could have set a tone for Pakistan to sort of get that 150, 160. I think they were still on point. I think with 90 runs for 3 wickets at the end of 13 overs. But then it was some brilliant bowling at the death overs and the inexperience in the Pakistan middle order, lower middle order to face this sort of situations really really affected them. And I must say that the way Dahani batted, I think they ended up to stumble from 90 for 3 to 128 for 9. They were very lucky to end at 147 thanks to those two lusty blows from Dahani. But otherwise, I think it was a very clinical bowling performance from Team India. I have a few concerns with the choices that they made, but we'll get back to that later. But again, a clinical display with the bat from Team India by the lower middle order players. We have seen this often and often that the top
I
three
mean,
players from Team
these are the
India have
games
not been
what
contributing
you
on the.
prepare for, right? Because I totally
Yeah.
believe when you have a lower middle order very strong, you don't lose games often. When you have a top order strong and when you don't have a lower middle order strong, you tend to lose games. And that's exactly we prepared for such an occasion, and that's why your lower middle order actually stepped up. Leading into this Asia Cup or leading into the World Cup, one thing what India has made sure is that your lower middle order, the likes of Hardik Pandya, likes of Jadeja, likes of Dinesh Karthik, likes of Surya Kumar Yadav are all well equipped. Jen, your thoughts on that? Because today's game could have been India getting all out very early, right? And it could have actually been a catastrophic kind of a chase as well because it was not an easy chase because the ball was nibbling around until that. If I have to count in totality, it was until the 39th over in the entire match. The more ball was nibbling around. Those are really good signs for Pakistani pacers, to say the least. But then, one thing you have to give credit for is the way in which the lower middle order handled that pressure, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I think all of this does come from the fact that each and every player that is featuring in this team has done this before. For example, Hardik Pandya has been instrumental for Mumbai Indians when he used to play. Obviously, now he's taken a different role for Gujarat Titans. But the fact that they've been here, done it before, even though it's been for different colors, it's the fact that they've faced the standard of bowling when it comes to these stages. They know how to stabilize an innings, and that's what we've seen today. But I mean, and let's just be honest. This was a terrible pitch if you're a batsman. The
Yeah.
ball, I mean, when the ball was hard, it was coming onto the bat well, but then you would not be able to connect because the ball was swinging around. And then all of a
Yeah.
sudden, when the ball stops swinging, then it starts to nibble around, and the ball isn't coming
Mm.
onto the bat as well as you would like. So it's probably the worst of the two sides. It's when the new ball is new, it's really dangerous because it's swinging, and when the ball is old, then it's not coming onto the bat. So you have, as a
Mm.
batsman, you have no place to hide. And even then, to stabilize the innings, what Indian batsmen did, I feel, in comparison to what Pakistani batsmen did, is that they knew that this pitch is not easy to bat. Maybe it came because of the fact that they saw their bowlers ball and they saw Pakistani batsmen struggled. But what for example, Surya Kumar Yadav or a Jadeja did is they made sure that the run rate did not fall. They kept taking singles, doubles wherever they
Mm.
could find. And Pakistani bowlers did not make it easy for them. They kept bowling their hard length. They found the length very early, did not shift from the length. Even their spinners, they made sure that they did not give India any leeway. And that's why I think India's this victory for India is certainly something that they'll enjoy for a long time because it's a very
Yeah.
hard earned victory. And the fact that the Pakistani, they only had five bowling options, if I'm not wrong, and they only had three pacers. Even then, Pakistan really challenged India here. So I think Indian batsmen
Yeah.
will be really happy, especially the lower order. And we have always been worried as Indian cricket fans about Indian lower order and middle order struggling. This is a very
Hmm.
good sign coming to the World Cup.
Yeah, right. Absolutely. Satyamani, coming to you because let's talk about the start which India had with the ball, right? India made sure Pakistan never got going. And especially in this kind of wicket, one would say Pakistan played slow. But now looking at India's batting as well, once the wicket was pretty fresh earlier on in the game, it was actually a tough wicket to bat. That's where, India made sure Pakistan not really get away with the game. India brought in those breakthroughs and crucial junctures, especially getting Rizwan's wicket, especially Hardik Pandya was just class apart. Yet again, Hardik Pandya proves why he's the X factor of this team. We backed him and we still continue to back because after the last World Cup, everybody, this was the same encounter where all the pundits across the country came to write Hardik Pandya off. This was the same encounter where Hardik Pandya injured himself for the first time, where he walked off the field in 2018 in the same Asia Cup encounter. The same ground, it was redemption of Hardik Pandya, the player. Right now, you see Hardik Pandya, the much more mature cricketer. Let's talk about him because his bouncers were quite effective for Pakistani batters to actually face. And how effective was him in using those short deliveries every now and then?
I think you know that the pitch is supporting, like assisting balls that are like a sort of, if you can ball those proper bouncers which is high, which comes to the batsman in the nearby, like in the vicinity of the helmet. I think you realize, the Indian team realized very soon that that was the way to go about it. And Bhuvneshwar Kumar started by surprising somebody like a Babar Azam. You don't expect Bhuvneshwar Kumar to with that pace, with 130 135 kilometers per hour, to come in and bowl a bouncer right at the start of the innings. So I think once Barbar Azam was completely caught off guard, and then again Avish Khan came in, picked up Fakar Zaman's wicket with a short delivery, and by the time Hardik Pandya came into ball, they had already figured out that once in a while, like in an over, they can hit the hard length, and they can go for those high bounces once or twice in every over. So yeah, I think it was very good strategy, and Pakistan were really caught off guard. And talking
Yeah.
about Hardik Pandya, I think he has been very special in 2022. Hardik Pandya has been the performer in the T20 internationals for me so far in 2022, because he had an like awesome IPL. He made a comeback to the international team, captained the side in one series, and then scored his first half century in T20I cricket. Then everything, picked up wickets. Now I think Hardik Pandya is now the second highest T20I wicket taker against Pakistan. Like in T20s, the second highest wicket
Absolutely.
taker for India against Pakistan.
Yeah.
7 wickets.
Let's not
I
forget,
think Bhuvneshwar topped
Hardik
that list.
Pandya in the Asia Cup in 2016 picked up, I think it was 3 for 8 against Pakistan, where Pakistan
Yeah,
got
yeah,
all of
yeah.
83. It was 3 for 8.
83.
There was a similar kind of a pitch. Ball was nibbling around quite a bit. Hardik Pandya comes and breaks their back yet again. It was
I
such a
think
crucial
my
strike.
memory of Hardik Pandya doing this to Pakistan has been very consistent, because in 2016
Yeah.
Asia Cup, you talk about 2017 Champions Trophy, it was Hardik Pandya and Jadeja at the crease,
Love the
when
big
one
occasion.
might have had that slight belief that yeah, India could have won that game, because Hardik Pandya was going all guns blazing. Then you talk about Bhuvneshwar Kumar again. 2012, Bhuvneshwar Kumar's international debut was in the series against, like I think he firstly came into prominence with that wicket of, I think if I'm not wrong, it was Jamshed.
Mohammed, yeah, I think it's Jamshid or Hafiz.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Either of
Uh,
them. Or
Of the
it was
first
it
delivery
was
that
yes.
no, 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 it was
yeah,
Nasir Jamshed. It was
2012
Nasir
ODIs.
Jamshed.
I think
Yeah.
Bhuvneshwar Kumar is another player who loves playing against Pakistan. Hardik Pandya, Virat Kohli, these players love
Yeah.
playing against Pakistan. Rohit Sharma clearly does not have a very good record against Pakistan,
And KL Rahul as
and
well. My goodness.
KL Rahul as
We'll
well.
talk
Like,
about KL Rahul in depth because I have been a huge advocate of not
and no,
having
no,
KL Rahul in
just
any of my.
to just add on to that point, I think Jerin mentioned that Pakistan had five bowlers. I think they had Khushdil Shah too. They had six bowlers, and I think they lost the game in that middle phase where they could
Yeah.
have completed the complete quota of the spinners. And they knew that they had
Yeah.
only 12 overs of fast bowling. Then why do you keep
Mm.
one over of Mohammad Nawaz? I understand that Jadeja was targeting him, but that was also the opportunity to get Jadeja out at that point, because India did not have any other left-handers. Then I
Mm.
mean Shadab Khan and both Shadab Khan and Mohammad Nawaz would have had a very good time otherwise, if like if they could have dismissed Jadeja back then. But I think they missed a
Hmm.
ploy over there. They missed a trick over there, and it really went on to cost them.
Absolutely. Jen commented because another player who had such a terrific game was Bhuvaneshwar Kumar, right? 4 wickets, 4 for 26 in such a big game like this. He was top notch with his variation. He made sure that the tail also did not wag much. How important was he today? Because he made sure their main batter, Babar Azam, did not get going. Because Babar Azam is a player in very good form as well. His first shot of the game, he hit it for four. It clearly sent message that he is a player who's looking to score runs. And from there on, using that bouncer even there and making sure that he did not give any runs away. He just gave away 8 runs in 2 overs in his first spell, and to come back and also pick up 3 wickets in the later half of the game. How important was he, Jaren, and how important has Bhuvaneshwar Kumar's redemption been? Because last year, Bhuvaneshwar Kumar was criticized after his spell against Pakistan. Because everybody told he was just not looking there. He lost his pace. But here he is up there with the pace, bowling high 130s. He's swinging the ball. He's getting the ball to seam. At the same time, he's using variations as well. How important has the team backing been, and how important has been this redemption for Bhuvneshwar Kumar?
I think I've always been a big fan of Bhuvneshwar Kumar. The in swingers and the outswingers, the skill that he has with the ball is just, on his day when prime Bhuvneshwar Kumar is one of the best bowlers in the world, and I think it's very pretty much underestimated. When he came onto the scene, India did not have the kind of bowling depth that India has today when it comes to fast bowlers,
Mm,
and
mm,
he was used everywhere. He was used in England, he was used in Australia, everywhere. I think that's one of the reasons why he got injured in the first place. But think that thing aside, it's just great to see him come back. I think one of the best things that it's really gone well for him is the fact that Indians had fast bowling depth. He was able to take a step back, go back to rehabilitation. He was out of the radar for a long time, and I think that really worked wonders for him. Now that he's come back, he is the Bhuvneshwar Kumar that we saw initially, right? That we saw who could do the damage up front and who could do damage right at the back. And it's a mentality that he brings into the team as well. He is such a calm and cool customer. The pressure never gets to him, and he balls one of the most difficult overs. And what he did today is something that, I think the commentator spoke about it at length. Pakistani openers, that is Babar Azam and Rizwan, are known for their good starts. If nothing, they're known for the start of at least rotating the strike. Bhuvneshwar Kumar did not allow them at anything. He just choked them, and that's pretty much what happened. I think you would have had probably a few more wickets go his way if not for that resilience shown by the
mm,
Pakistani openers.
mm,
But he could have ended the game then and there. And I think it was only that day that Pakistani openers survived. But I think this
mm,
Bhuvneshwar Kumar can do damage anywhere. The fact that if you could have someone like a Mohammad Shami waiting the wings, he had a great IPL.
mm.
Now imagine if
Yeah,
Mohammad Shami and Bumrah are fit as well, then you have someone like
yeah.
Shami, Bhuvi, and Bumrah. So you can literally have these three in the power play, and then again, Bumrah and Bhuvi in the death. So it's actually shaping up to a very good Indian team, especially if Bhuvi keeps doing what he's doing.
A very good question from Abhishek, actually. Promoting Jadeja up the order paid off, but the dilemma still remains between DK and Pant. See, don't you guys think? First, I'll come to Sandeepani on this because it's such an important
Even if I
question.
may,
We have this debate throughout as to who should be India's number one keeper leading into the T20 World Cup. Signs now are that DK is the preferred option, considering the data, considering his form, considering Pant's lack of ability to actually perform under these pressure situations as well. But now India not having a left-hander in the middle over, can there actually be a trouble situation? Because today, in order to actually counter the left arm and the leg spinner, you had to send someone like Jadeja up there. If you had a punt and punt being so good on his left arm spin, that could have actually been nullified as well. Do you guys reckon punt still holds the key for India going ahead into the Asia Cup?
well, if I
Jaren
may,
first.
See, talking about,
before I get to Sanjay, so
yeah.
yesterday before I lost my internet, I was going to suggest this to you guys that, there's this issue with, we've been talking about how KL Rahul and how he fits into this team. What I would rather suggest is like you require someone like a KL Rahul, maybe KL Rahul sits out. You have Rohit and everyone else gets pushed up ahead. So then Rohit and Kohli open, and then you fit in Rishabh Pant. So you suddenly have two left-handers, and then you just ask Rishabh Pant to go berserk. It's
Hmm.
okay if he loses his wicket.
Yeah.
It
Even
just
Yeah,
fits
fits
I mean,
easily
with
in
the
Abhishek's
this
point
form
as
but
that
you
well.
have
Surya Kumar
something
is
like
making
that.
right now, that is a very good. That will be a very good alternative. But I don't think that KL Rahul will be like he's the vice captain of the team. The management
Man,
has
let me
shown
tell you something,
complete faith.
Sandeepani. I'm a fan of KL Rahul, but then, bro, in pressure situations, this guy doesn't really step up.
Not
And I
He's
really
just
pressure
don't
India
think
in big
situations. I
games.
I
think he
really
was
don't think
very
KL Rahul
rusty to
fits into
start
the
off with.
second team, at this point in time. You have Virat Kohli, you have Rohit Sharma, and you have KL Rahul, who all three play the same kind of cricket in T20. They're all anchor players. You might argue that KL Rahul can go berserk, but how often does that
But,
happen? And
but see, Jaren, my point is that we'll talk about KL Rahul now before, as we are going to end the debate on DK versus Pant. My opinion is Pant should play. Even Jaren votes for Pant. I don't know what Sandeep, do you want Pant to play?
No, I
actually, I
think
don't think so.
regarding the selection yesterday,
If
I
you have
had
to
a
choose
hunch that
one,
Dinesh Karthik is going to play. I told you because I said that yeah, Rohit Sharma and Dinesh Karthik, they are friends, and I think Dinesh Karthik was given because somewhere I read
Yeah,
that
friend.
Dinesh Karthik was in the probable 11. So I was very I had this dilemma myself that whether they should go with Pant or Dinesh Karthik. But if you are going with Dinesh Karthik, and if you are sending him down at number 6 or number 7, and if you have to promote somebody like Ravindra Jadeja to come up at number 4 just to tackle that, just to tackle and come to the solution for that right and left hand combination, I think that is no solution. I think if you have to have a left hander at number 4, it has to be Rishabh Pant. If you are pushing the number one batsman in the world in T20s right now to number 5, just to fit in a left hander at number 4, it should never be Jadeja, it should be Pant,
It
according
should
to
be
me.
punt,
But
absolutely. And in my opinion as well, though Dinesh Karthik has done nothing wrong to be dropped, but then
no, no,
just
it's just
on the
a choice of
tactical side of
sending.
the game,
see, I'll give
you'll
you a
have a
different
you'll
view
have a
from you
Rashid
guys
Khan,
here.
you'll have to face a Rashid Khan, you'll have to face a Shakib Al Hasan if you're playing the super force, or you'll have to also counter Hasaranga as well. More left arm spinners, more leg spinners as well. Or considering all these factors, I believe Rishabh Pant should be your tactical option, not for any other reason, just as a tactical call. Rishabh Pant should be batting at number 4 for India, and then from there on you will see what happens, because you don't need a finisher like Dinesh Karthik, because today also you saw, I know there'll be days where he'll come in handy, 20 of 10 balls, but then I believe Jadeja is a good enough batter to do that, or even Rishabh Pant is being there, or Hardik Pandya being there, they can actually do that. That's why I think having Rishabh Pant in the middle is going to be so crucial for them. Now going ahead, let's talk about
I
KL
think
Rahul,
just
because
to
we
be
already
fair to Dinesh Karthik, I think if Jadeja would have been out, like he was adjust LBW, he survived because the ball had pitched outside leg stump. If he would have been adjust LBW, I think Dinesh Karthik coming in with 19 required of 10, India would have still won and Dinesh Karthik would have brought the game home. But the
yeah.
problem is that India right now, they need a number 4 player and they need a left-hander at the top, and
Hmm.
that is exactly why Pant should fit in. Dinesh Karthik
Yeah.
did nothing wrong. He will get opportunities, but I don't think this is the right time with this team combination. Either you try out what Jarin just said, drop KL Rahul, give everybody one top, like slot everybody one, like give them a promotion of one slot, and then bring in Rishabh Pant at number 3 or number 4, wherever he is fit. I mean, Rishabh Pant is a good enough player to bat at number 3 as well. They tried Rishabh Pant opening. They have tried him at number 4, 5, 6. But I think even if you ask him to come in at number 3, Virat Kohli, Rohit Sharma opening, I think he'll do a very
Yeah.
good job as well. I mean,
Absolutely. And in my opinion, KL Rahul is not there in my World Cup team. I was very clear on that. KL Rahul shouldn't be opening the batting for Team India. I don't know what. I'm going to use some really serious words over here. I rate him. I put him on that periphery of a stat padder for some reason. I know it's a very. I know. I know
careful
it's
there
a
because
big word.
I'm pretty sure he's going to score a half century against Hong Kong in the next one.
Man, that's a point, right? He's going to score a half century of 20 balls, and people are going to be like, wow, KL Rahul is back. That's exactly what happened last World Cup. He scored that 50 against Namibia, that he scored a 50 against Afghanistan, if I'm not wrong. And people were like,
Yeah, yeah.
wow, KL Rahul is back. Man, I don't want our openers to be scoring against Afghanistan, Scotland, and Namibia. I mean, we can get anybody in India to do that, right? KL Rahul is known to play in this big occasion, but often he has let us down in big occasions. And he's coming off a long layoff. At least I didn't expect India to rush him straight into the Asia Cup. I regard him very highly as a batter because he's supremely talented. You know his ability, but then he's very timid and very tentative as well. That's been KL Rahul's biggest downfall, right? Someone should really go to him and be like, KL Rahul, just play your own game. Go out there, smash the ballers. That's where you get the runs. That's why you used to be at your absolute best in 2019 for Punjab at least. But now he's becoming very timid. I know there's definitely a worry about his place in the side. There's definitely worry about or insecurity about him coming back into the side. Shubman Gill has been in very good form. Prithvi Shaw is knocking the doors. Then you have someone like a Rishabh Pant who can open the batting, and even Surya Kumar Yadav now who can open the batting as well. So
You have a
there are a lot
left-handed
of openers.
Kishan as well.
Ishan Kishan, Virat Kohli. So you have so many openers there for him. So of course I understand the insecurity is creeping in, but then man, come on, you cannot be. scoring constantly single
But
digit
to be
scores in
fair to
big
him, even
big
Kohli
games.
got a nervous start. If somehow that second slip would have clinched onto that catch, even Kohli would have felt
I mean,
coming
I
right back
won't
into the
bring
field.
Virat Kohli in the same periphery as even KL Rahul, because Virat Kohli has pulled India off of many of these things, many of these kind of shaky starts time and time again. Again, the same opposition 2016 World Cup against same Pakistan. 2017, I mean not 2017, even the recently last year 2021, I think it was a World Cup where India were 5 for 2, 4 for 2 if I'm not
Yeah,
wrong.
yeah.
KL Rahul again getting out cheaply, Rohit Sharma getting out cheaply as well. So Virat
I
Kohli has
think to
done
be
it time
fair
and
to
time
KL
again.
Rahul, I
I
think
think
we
if you
should
guys remember
like
the
they
innings
will
against
give him the
Pakistan.
time till Asia Cup at least. I mean, KL Rahul will get the entirety of
I mean, he
Asia Cup to
should.
stake his claim. They'll
Yeah, I
again
think
face
he should.
Pakistan. This is not the only encounter that India is going to have against Pakistan. I have been very clear. Pakistan are the favorites to make it to the finals. There is also
Hmm.
super force. So I at least I am expecting two more games between India and Pakistan in the next 12, 13 days. So
Yeah,
KL Rahul
absolutely.
will have two more opportunities to prove himself,
I
and
mean, you
more
know what?
actually, even in the
I mean,
game
I totally
against
agree with you
Afghanistan.
all on this. I'll make a point. I know it's such a big day for India. We should be celebrating India's win than pulling out the bad performance, because, bad performance does happen. I don't want to really talk about KL Rahul and Deb, because you never know. Next match against Pakistan, you could set up plays by scoring that quick 550, and we'll all shut up. And we'll all have to eat our own words. And that's KL Rahul for you. He likes coming back. He has got the celebration of him not listening to critics as well. So I believe I would like to see that celebration once again in this Asia Cup, but not against Hong Kong, definitely against Pakistan or Sri Lanka. So coming back to that, yeah, Abhishek is right. He was at his peak in 2016 to 2018. He was absolutely smashing it here and there. But before I end this point, can KL Rahul actually slot in the middle order actually? Because you bat him at number 5 in one day cricket, and he scored a century for India batting at number 4 in T20 cricket. Let's not forget that match in Florida against West Indies. He came in at number 4, smashed a century. He used to do that for RCB in 2016 at his prime as well. Can he actually bat number 4 or number 5 for India, actually pushing someone like a Rishabh Pant or even someone like a Surya Kumar Yadav to open the batting? I know it's a big call, but then considering these factors,
And I'll take a
at least
few.
number
Like
3 and make Virat Kohli to open the batting.
For
for me,
me,
I think
clearly no, because I
Prasanth,
don't think that yeah. I don't think
look,
with the team that India, like the current squad that Team India has right now, KL Rahul fits in at number 4, number 5, or number 6 in the T20I format. In the ODI format, it's a different game altogether. He has
Yeah.
had performances. You rightly mentioned that he also had performances. He scored that century against West Indies, coming in at number 4 for Team India. But those instances only happen when India lose two wickets early. So it's like him
Hmm.
coming in the power play, and it's the same thing. Him opening the batting or coming in the power play with
Hmm.
India having lost two wickets. It does not make any difference to me. So if KL Rahul has to play, he has to open in the T20I. If not, then yeah, like Ishan Kishan, just stay in the grid and just wait for your
Absolutely.
opportunity.
Absolutely. Let's now shift the focus to Pakistan, right? Pakistan have been terrific. They made a game out of this, such a small target at least. How much will they be carrying the confidence ahead now? Because in a game like this, just making sure that 147, Shanawaz Dani, Jaren, coming to you, how important was that knock of 16? Nobody expected that. Ultimately, if you look, that 16 of 6 balls was the difference of making a game out of it, or it being a very comfortable chase for India ultimately, isn't it?
yeah, I mean, that was a brilliant cameo, and it was the difference between ending up at the target that they had, that is 148, or ending up at 128 or a 120, right? And that's pretty much what it was. And if this was a 120 match, then India was cruising. You wouldn't have seen India struggle as much as they did. The fact that he came in there and he scored those runs is the reason why we had a match at all. And I think the Pakistani skipper, that is Babar Azam, said it in the post match presentation as well. That innings right there is why Pakistan's net run rate is not going to be worse. Of course, that wouldn't
Mm,
matter in this group where you have Hong Kong, which would be probably be losing all their matches, ideally at
mm,
least. But the
mm,
fact that he came in there, he played in that fashion. He's not supposed to be in the team to be at the start of it. He came in as an injury replacement. He was probably, even if you look at the experience wise, you would have still gone with someone like a Hassan Ali. But the fact that they trusted in him and they expected him to do well, even though he was not as spectacular with the ball as he would have liked. But that innings is exactly why India struggled to win this match, or the match went to the last over. And I think it's
mm.
just hats off to him.
I mean, Aisha has a point over there. She says, at least हम 10 विकेट से तो नहीं हारा और हम आधे टीम तो इंजर्ड थे। हाँ, बिल्कुल, तो आधे टीम तो इंजर्ड ही थे, मतलब
But
हम क्या ही बोल सकते हैं।
just to counter on her second point, I think हम लोग हारे, आधे टीम तो इंजर्ड थे। I think वो तो आप लोगों की ही गलती थी ना, अगर क्रैम्प्स वगैरह
I
हो रहा
mean,
है, then you can't really
I'm not
blame.
gonna pinpoint anybody like किसका गलती है वो नहीं है, पर हाँ ठीक है, मतलब इंजर्ड तो नहीं थे, मतलब क्रैम्प्स था,
Yeah, yeah,
अभी
yeah.
मौसम
I think it was a
मौसम ऐसा
close
था कि
contest.
दुबई
It
में।
was a fair contest, and there were
हाँ,
no
I think,
duels this time around,
we have to
contrary
remember
to the
one thing: the fact that
2021 World Cup.
Pakistan, so the fact that Pakistan in the last 5 overs or so, if I'm not wrong, had to bring in one fielder because of the new rules, and that's probably what changed the game.
I mean, that is
The
what
fact
actually
that
turned the match. It is not the injured result. I think that's a very good
yes,
point as well because
Yeah.
having one fielder inside the circle because of them not able to complete their overs within 1.5 hours, that actually made a difference. If you look at the Jadeja
I
score,
think
which is scored
this
Harry
is a
Croft,
given. I think both the teams
and
will
you
be
know what? I
penalized
mean,
even
I'll
in the
give you
Super
another
4 when
point.
India Pakistan play, because when these two teams are playing, it is ultimate pressure situation, and bowlers take their time, batsmen take their time. There are cramps, everything is going down. The
I mean,
umpires are
let's be
nervous.
honest. I was just
Yeah,
listening to Wasim Akram post match as well. He made a very good point. Cramps could not just be because of the weather; it also could be because of nervousness. Because it's such a big game, cramps can actually get in. And someone like Naseem Shah, I love that guy, man. What a baller! Regardless of who you are, you
full
love the
of
ball
heart.
seaming around. What a Every time you see an opening spell of a Pakistani bowler against India, you fall in love with the bowler. Amir in 2016, Shaheen in 2021. Naseem Shah in 22. I've already seen Naseem Shah. He made his debut when he was 17, 16 against Australia in Australia. That was really harsh on him.
70,
And
yeah,
since
yeah, yeah.
then he got injured. He had to come
Yeah, I
back,
think.
and now he looks a very fine product.
Yeah, I mean, from a point that I mentioned before, the fact that players had cramps and the fact that they had an extra, I mean, they went ahead. I mean, they went further than the time limit that was given to them. Santipani had raised a point earlier about bringing in a spinner. I think it was Kushtil whom they should have brought in. If they had
Yeah.
brought in him or a Nawaz before itself, they could have saved time and they could have probably given their ballers rest. The fact that they tried to, I mean, it is not wrong
But
captaincy from Babar
Jaren,
Azam
I'll
to
stop
get
you
the
there.
wickets.
It
There
was
was there
just
was
a
that one
tactic that did
over.
not come up for them
Yes,
tonight.
correct. Sandeepan is
Yeah,
right. There
so
was just one over where Naseem was brought in to pick up a wicket. That's exactly the over they should have brought in someone like Kushzil, you believe, but then there he picked up a wicket as well of Surya Kumar Yadav. So it was a double-edged sword. I think the game went. I think it was a good captaincy by Babar Azam. I know time is in these kind of games, time does stretch because the pressure is there. You want to take a lot of break. And now with a new rule, you can't help it. If you look at the last 5 encounters of India versus Pakistan, time has stretched, and you cannot deny it. Before this rule was not there, before you had a 10% penalty, and captains would ideally take it. 10% penalty is absolute peanuts for any of these captains, right? Now you have points docking. Now you have this. Now you have this one fielder coming in as well. Now this really affects the game or affects the tournament at large. Now here is what we talk about, the time being such an important factor. I think Khushdil Shah should have been used before that, somewhere there when Jadeja came into bat, him being a left-hander
But I
and
think
Khushdil
even
Shah
Nawaz
bowling
was
that.
a very good option. I think, yeah, Jadeja was taking him on, but right, like I mentioned, that India did not have another left-hander player. Nawaz eventually came in, picked up Jadeja's wicket. Nobody knows.
yes.
He could have come in the 13th or 14th over. He had already dismissed Kohli and Rohit Sharma. He was high on confidence. He could have just
Yeah,
forced a
so
false shot out of Jadeja, and things would
Hmm.
have been very different. So
So
yeah,
precisely my
those are
point. I'm
two
not saying that they
aspects
should
to
have
it. Yeah.
brought a spinner exactly at that particular point. Rather, they should have brought a spinner in when they felt. Means there should have been a communication. I think Wasim Akram is the one who mentioned it. There should be some sort of communication with the dressing room and the players that you're exceeding the time. This is
Yeah,
something they're
yeah.
allowed to do.
I
And
mean,
if they
there is
had
a
done
timer
that,
kept on the big screen as well. But then
yes. So
I'm
maybe
telling you
somewhere
again, Jaren,
there,
I'm telling you again, it's very tough to control these things
it is
in cricket.
difficult, of course. And
It's
you,
very
as a captain,
difficult,
you want to
especially
get
such a
those
big
wickets.
game. And remember, it's not a big score as well. It's a very small score. You
Yeah.
want to think very deeply into every decision you make. I will give credit to Babar Azam for actually dragging this game very deep. I think this could have been easily finished
I
off
would
in
give
17
credit to
overs.
Nasim Shah and Harris Raw for dragging this game till that moment, because I
Yeah,
think
I mean, I
Yeah.
loved
one
Naseem
thing
Shah,
that I have
man.
noticed for Hardik Pandya, because even in tonight's game, Hardik Pandya was finding it hard to hit those balls that were coming in, like balls that were hitting hard on the pitch and outside off stump. He finds it
Hmm.
very difficult to cut it or slice it for boundaries or even for a single. And Harris Roth, I think even in that game against Sri Lanka, I guess, or I don't remember exactly which team. Teams have been eventually targeting Hardik Pandya with hard lengths. The bowlers
Mm,
are coming in bowling at full pace, hard lengths outside off stump, and asking
mm,
Hardik
mm, mm.
Pandya to cut it or slice it for boundary or for runs. And Hardik Pandya is finding it very difficult. I will be very interested to. It will be very interesting to see if teams continue with this ploy in the future as well, because this is one point, because Hardik Pandya is your finisher. You expect your finisher to like come in and score those massive runs right from ball one. And if once a team sort of exploits that and sort of sticks to it, I think they, like India are going to find it difficult. I'm sure Hardik Pandya too will have noticed it, and definitely he's working on it. But if you are keeping the ball away from his body, outside off stump, hitting that hard length, Hardik Pandya finds it difficult to get that ball away.
I mean, a very nice question from Umang, actually. I think this is all a business strategy, right? The reason why they placed India and Pakistan with a qualifying team is to see India and Pakistan actually play three times in this Asia Cup, and that's really going to happen now. India is going to play Pakistan in the Super 4 as well. And if nothing really happens, India and Pakistan will face off in the final. Everybody wants that kind of final. Usually it doesn't happen. Rarely it does happen in an Asia Cup final. I don't remember the last time an Asia Cup final was India versus Pakistan. It was have to really go back in time, because usually it's India, Sri Lanka, India, Bangladesh in the recent times, or Pakistan taking on Sri Lanka. But I really hope it remains like this. This is one of the most competitive Asia Cups for many reasons. So it's very hard to predict this time around, at least because you have Afghanistan, who has come off the radar. It has surprised many teams, because now with the Afghanistan spin attack, and if the pitches are actually going to stick up like this, Rashid, Mujib, and also they have someone like a Noor Ahmed who they've really not shown. If they really pull that wild card off, they're really going to trouble teams like Pakistan, India, and now Rahmanullah Gurbaz, and these guys are really gone mad. I'll say Delhi Bulls boys like Fazlullah Farooqi and Rahmanullah Gurbaz, absolute gunners, man. They've been a madman show right now. If Afghanistan really gets going, they're really going to give India a run for the money. Last Asia Cup in UAE, Afghanistan tied the match against India. It was a 50-over game, but then they did tie the match against India. And
I think
Afghanistan
everything
does
will
deserve.
depend. I think everything will depend on how Afghanistan goes against Bangladesh, because we have often seen teams having a wonderful game on one day and not being able to maintain that consistency. That is
Absolutely.
still a long way to go. First, I think the biggest test for Afghanistan now will to keep their heads down and focus on the game against Bangladesh. They have to be exactly how clinical they were against Sri Lanka and more, because Bangladesh are the underdogs in that game, and they are going to come out all guns blazing, because they are going to take it
Absolutely.
as a absolute knockout game. So I
I mean,
definitely think, yeah.
true, true, true. I think it's gonna be two more India Pakistan game, but then I don't want that third game. I know all the cricket fans want it. I want an India Afghanistan final. I'm a big fan of dark horses coming through, but then ideally, practically speaking, it's gonna be an India Pakistan final as well in my opinion, because looking at the form which Pakistan is in, I know today's loss would have really hurt them, but then it is not really a loss they'll take, because there'll be a lot of positives from this loss as well. It's one of those losses, as many people say, it's not like those 10 wicket hammering where you get completely demoralized. It's one of those losses where Pakistan took the game to the last two balls in the game. So, big credit to Pakistan for that. Thank you, Ankit Bhaiya. We have Ankit Bhaiya from Almighty Sports FC joining us. Great to have you. Will be great to have you on the podcast very soon as well, Ankit Bhaiya. So, thank you for that. Do hit the likes, all of you, and subscribe to the channel. Whoever is new to the channel, it'll be great so we can bring more of these contents. Guys, I'm going to bring some really surprising thing for you. Guys, as you know, Boomer 11 is running a interesting contest. If you are in for it, if you are in to really challenge yourself, make a fantasy team, you are in with a chance to win 5 gold coins. So all what you have to do, I'm going to pull up a banner, make 5 teams for Asia Cup in 5 of the matches, and you have a chance to be a part of the raffle draw where you get a chance to win 5 gold coins. So this is your opportunity with Boom 11. So nothing to do, just make your teams for 5 of the matches. I hope you already made for 2 of them, and for the next 5 matches, you'll just keep making it, and you have a chance to win 5 gold coins. You'll be part of a raffle system, and you'll be winning 5 gold coins. So why do you want to miss out on that chance? Sanjay, buddy, what do you think? Are you also in to win some really good exciting prize of 5 gold coins?
Definitely. Now
Just
I
hit me
have
up on
to
Twitter.
definitely join Boomer contests. I have been joining Boomer contests, and I think the prizes are huge, and it's free. So why not? Definitely.
I mean, I was in the competition to win the Jabra Elite 7 Pro headphones today. Unfortunately, I had KL Rahul in my team. That's why I'm pretty happy at him, man. I swear I had him as my vice captain, and I put in the group as well, who all had KL Rahul in their fantasy team. I had him as my vice captain. So the moment he got out, I knew my headphones just broke. So unfortunately, my other teams had Rohit Sharma. He also Virat Kohli was one of my captains. But yeah, this is India Pakistan games, right? Where you can't really predict how things will actually pan out to be. Coming to you guys now. Now before we move ahead into this live as well. Now, talking about Virat Kohli's form, it's something which we always want to address in this live. Are you really happy with the kind of intent which he showed and the uh, kind of way he looked in the crease? Because the ball was coming up pretty well from his bat. He was playing some of his back foot shots very well, especially that pull of Harris Roth. That really showed up. That really looked like prime Virat Kohli. That the hoik which he had over the mid wicket and the long on region. That's prime Virat Kohli. How happy are you with the time he spent in the crease? I know he got out to a very bad ball rather than the way you wanted him to get out to a good ball at least. So, Jen, coming to you, how happy are you to see Virat Kohli bat in such a way?
I think you're not a true Virat Kohli fan if you just didn't get up and then clap or celebrate when he just pulled that ball like that, which is
Yeah,
vintage Virat Kohli. You just felt like you had a time machine. You came back to 2016. But
yeah.
man,
And I got
the
goosebumps. I
disappointment.
got goosebumps when I saw
I
that
will
shot.
I will disagree with you when you say that it was a bad ball. It was a very intelligent delivery. The fact that he timed that ball well. I think Kohli was maybe
I mean,
caught in two minds, or maybe he was
why I say
just
it was a bad ball was it was a nothing ball. The ball did not do anything much. It was Virat Kohli
it
who
did
tried to
it
go over extra cover.
it did turn a bit, and that's the reason why
No,
I
it did
think
not turn.
the
It did
fact
not
that
turn. That's the point. It did
it
not
did,
turn.
it did. It felt like it was trying to close. It was trying to play on
Let's
the
get
leg
the
side. I think we
broadcast
disagree
on.
here, so maybe I'll give you my side of the opinion. It just felt like he was trying to flick it over like straight down the ground, not to the long off region, but to the long on region. But I think
Yeah.
the turn a bit beat him. Maybe it was a lack of pace, maybe the flight that he did. But whatever it was, I think the fact that Kohli did stick to his basics. He played well. I think there was one shot which did not go to the boundary, but I really loved is when I think it was I don't remember the baller, but it was a back foot punch. That classic back foot punch that he got through to the cover region. So I think it was just 2 runs that he got, but it was
Mm,
just pure timing. And when
mm,
Virat Kohli is playing like that through the offside of his back foot, he's looking
mm.
good. I think there's
Yeah.
a bit rustiness. He's not
Of
touched the
course.
bat
Of
for
course.
30 days,
Of course. Of course.
as
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
he
Big,
said.
big
And I
thing.
think maybe these are good signs. I just hope these are not, this is not just a continuation of the pattern, but, something actually comes off it.
Yeah.
And I mean, as every Virat Kohli fan, I hope a
Hmm.
71st century is somewhere around the corner.
I mean, I don't want it, man. I'm sick of that number, so I'm not going to even talk about that number anymore. So, yeah, Aisha, we are going to be talking about Naseem Shah because Naseem Shah has been. I love that baller, man. What a baller! Even with cramps, he came in there, he balled his heart out. That's what you call wearing your heart on your sleeves, right? He just was the definition of wearing your heart on your sleeves, playing for your country, battling his health, and going out there balling in such a crucial moment, crucial juncture of the match, delivering that spell. I think he deserved more than 2 wickets. But then, yeah, he's just going to be better. I think it's going to be Naseem Shah's kind of a Asia Cup. If the pitches are going to remain like this, you already saw the kind of talent which Naseem Shah had. You saw that in Qadi Azam Trophy. You saw that in the T20 domestic leagues. You saw that in PSL as well. But now is the time for him. He had a great series against Netherlands. He picked up a 5 wicket haul there. Now coming to the Asia Cup, he was filled with confidence. That's the reason he got the nod ahead of someone like a Hassan or even someone like a Hassan Ali as well. So this guy means business. There's something about this lad at large. So kudos to him. He earned my respect. In the ground, it was all Virat cheers. Yeah, it was in the ground. It was all Virat cheers. I think you were in the ground today, and even Pakistanis were cheering for Virat. I mean, yeah. I mean, there's something really good about India Pakistan now. Sandeep, what do you reckon about India Pakistan? I know I'm going to deviate a little away from cricket, but now you see a lot more camaraderie on the field, right? You see Rizwan, Hardik hugging Rizwan, a lot more smile, a lot more cheers. There's constant smiles between Harris Roth and Hardik. Everybody's pretty chilled. It looked like a couple of bunch of friends going out there playing. It looked like an IPL game rather than the tense what you all make out, outside the ground. India Pakistan जीतना है, जंग है, वो सब मतलब ऐसा कुछ नहीं था ground में. It was just good competitive cricket played by two good teams. What do you guys make of that? Because it was something very interesting to see, right? Sandeep, coming to you first up.
I think it has been the camaraderie has been there even off the field. We could have seen, we saw a couple of clips uploaded by I think various YouTube channels with Indian and Pakistani players having a good time, chit chatting about various different things. And I think the hype around the India Pakistan rivalry has got to do a lot, has got to do with the politics as well, politics side to it as
Mm,
well, definitely.
mm,
And when you talk about the game itself, I think these players, they have seen each other plenty of times in the ICC tournaments, Champions Trophy. So
mm,
they are friends of the field. Some of them are friends of the field. There is that rivalry once they are on the field. But it was very good to see that cricket was played in such high spirits. And
mm.
and we all know what a character Hardik Pandya is. I think I was very impressed by Dahani's attitude. I think before that it was seeming too friendly, but Dahani came in, brought that energy, hit those two sixes.
I
He
mean,
was
that really
smashing
changed
the
the
gloves
momentum
with the
as
bat.
well
Yeah,
because for a reason, those two sixes will look like just 12 runs of the bat, but then
he just pumped up
momentum is such
Pakistan's
a big
innings, and
factor.
Pakistan went into the
Yeah,
dressing room way more confident. They
charge.
were confident,
Yeah,
they were pumping, they were cheering,
yeah,
and they thought that they had 20 runs more than what they could have
yeah,
had.
yeah.
So that is a
Absolutely.
huge, yeah,
Absolutely.
that is a
We
huge
speak about
boost.
momentum being such a big factor. Momentum is such a huge factor with these small moments, right? We talk about momentum being a factor post the match once you win, but within the game as well. These small moments, where a tailender comes and smashes for two sixers, the whole dressing room is up, the smiles are all back, Indian shoulders drop there. That's what led to that shaky start of India. Indian shoulders did drop. Bhuvneshwar Kumar did come out stating that we gave away extra 20 runs. That is a mental barrier. So Shahnawaz Dani is an absolute character. Kudos to him as well. It
And
was a it
I
was a
think the
game
bowlers,
winning
not
obviously in
just
the Pakistan.
Naseem Shah and Harry Shroff, I think all the bowlers bowled their hearts out. We talk about Naseem Shah being like bowling that last over, but before that last over, he had figures of 2 for 16 in 3 overs, having
Yeah,
dismissed KL Rahul and the number one cricketer in the world right now, Surya Kumar Yadav. And that
yeah,
shot from Surya Kumar Yadav was absolutely, he was beaten by pace. It almost looked
pace.
like he was beaten by pace. Dahani, Naseem Shah, Harris Roth, they were steaming in. It was looking like they were bowling at 150, 155 kilometers per hour.
Hmm.
At least from outside, it was looking like that. I think the energy was there, the belief was there. Pakistan took the game right down to the wire, and they kept constant pressure on the Indian team. It was like it did not look at any point of time that India was running away with the game.
Hmm.
They were looking comfortable, and then Pakistan was chipping in with a wicket. They
Hmm.
had
Absolutely.
wickets in consistent intervals right till the
Hmm.
fourth wicket. But after that, Jadeja and Hardik Pandya took the game deep. They stitched a partnership, and then it went right down to the wire. But
Yeah,
Pakistan never looked out of it. That is my
yeah.
point. 147, 148. At the halfway stage, it really did not look much. I think
Hmm.
India would have been happy even if Pakistan would have been, if you would have asked Rohit Sharma that Pakistan will score 160, can you chase it down right at the start of the game? I think India would have taken it.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
to have Pakistan at 128 for 9 and then having to go out there and chase 148,
Hmm.
it was definitely not easy
20 runs made
because
a huge difference if you look towards the end.
definitely.
And one thing also, which stood out for me is the kind of way which Pakistani ballers teamed in. As there's a age-old saying in Pakistan, pace is pace, yaar, and it is actually true. When the ball is hitting 150, ball is nibbling around, any batter in the world is going to struggle. And Indian batters did struggle quite a bit, but then Jadeja showed composure. Virat Kohli's 35 was so important today. If you look at it in the context of the game, Virat Kohli's 35 was so massive. Jadeja's knock and Hardik Pandya was the standout player. Guys, what do you guys make of Avesh Khan? Because Avesh Khan, we all predicted him to be in the playing 11. Some people did predict Ashwin to be in the playing 11. Do you guys reckon he's going to get that nod ahead of Ashwin throughout the course of the Asia Cup, unless the pitch turns?
I'll let
Mm,
Jerry
yeah,
go first
ahead of
on that.
Ashwin, yes, probably. I think that's probably what's going to happen. But ahead of any other fast bowler, no, I really don't think so. I think Avesh Khan, he's been struggling. I mean, he's not been able to get his length right. I mean, it's the fact that it's not that he doesn't have it in him, right? We know what he's capable of. I think there needs to be a bit more work done, a bit more practice done. Maybe the occasion of international cricket is getting to him. There was
Hmm.
parts, and he was bowling well in patches.
Yeah.
Sometimes you saw him ball well, but the fact that there's so much tight competition right now, he really has to ball a lot more than this because the fact that Avesh Khan and Arshdeep Singh are playing together in 11 is because Bumrah is not there. Because your
Yeah.
actual competition with Arshdeep Singh, and you know how well Arshdeep Singh balled today. Maybe he deserved a wicket or two, but the fact that he was able to hit those lengths so well, you felt like he's someone who's doing a bit more than Avesh Khan. Also, the fact that Arshdeep Singh has a left hand factor in the fact that he's the only probable viable left-hander in the Indian fast bowling contingent right now.
Mm-hmm.
Avesh Khan has to do a lot better, and I
Yeah.
hope he does. But for me right now, ahead of Ashwin, yes, but I don't know if he's going to be staying in the team for a long time.
Yeah, absolutely. We have an interesting question from Michael actually. How important was India testing bench before such a big tournament? Sanjay, what do you reckon about that? Because India did test their bench more than their main players. If you look leading into this tournament or right after IPL, so someone like Ashdeep was ready for it. Someone like Avesh Khan also was ready for it, and you had your lower middle order, as we mentioned first up. All well and ready to face such a situation because more often than not, you saw Surya Kumar Yadav batting more often in the middle. You had Ravindra Jadeja being promoted at number 4 in that Sri Lankan series, and you had someone like Hardik Pandya batting at number 3 in IPL, number 5 for India since his comeback. So how important was India test? How important was it for India to test their bench? Foreseeing this kind of a tournament, foreseeing such an occasion can come up in a big game like this, and it did come up, and Indian middle order did respond pretty well.
I think it was very important because it's still very important because India right now does not have a fourth seamer. Like if your fourth seamer right now is Avesh Khan, I'm sorry to say that they have not yet got their fourth best seamer because Avesh Khan really does not look in any sort of form. This is not the Avesh Khan
Mm,
of IPL 2021. This is not the
mm,
Avesh Khan of IPL 2022. This
mm,
is something else. This is the Avesh Khan of the just concluded Zimbabwe series, just concluded West Indies series. He has not
mm,
looked in rhythm. Whenever he's coming to bowl in the death overs, he has been going for runs. And if you are bowling just 2 overs of Avesh Khan, I would defer to Jarin on this point. I would definitely have Ashwin in my lineup. If you need just 2 overs from a bowler, I would rather have Ashwin batting at number 8 for me. That will
yeah.
also add some
Hmm.
batting
Good
strength to
point,
the team
actually.
as well.
Good point.
And
That's a very good point.
definitely, Avesh Khan did not bowl at the death tonight. He came in the sixth over. That wicket of Fakhar Zaman that he picked up, if Fakhar Zaman would have let that ball go, it was a wide. Mohammad Rizwan, who was absolutely struggling against Arshdeep Singh, Hardik Pandya, and Bhuvneshwar Kumar early on in the innings, just got going in that Avesh Khan over. He got those two freebies, which he dispatched for a 6 and a 4. And he just came back into rhythm. So I think Avesh Khan was not at uh, close, not even at close to his best. The performances that he has showed in 2021 and 2022 in the IPL, we certainly expect better from him. And I think right now, not just Arshdeep Singh, I think Deepak Chahar is pitted higher in that ranking order ahead of somebody like Avesh Khan. And I definitely
Absolutely.
think that
I
if
mean,
he does not
if you
perform really well in this
as you
Asia
mentioned
Cup,
about the
I think
fourth seamer as well, we have someone like a Harshal Patel who's on the sidelines. Bumrah is not there. Then you have a Mohammad Siraj who's not
but
been
we have
preferred for
been
this.
critical about Harshal Patel, even though he has delivered quite often. But
But
there is that
Harshal
always that
Patel.
one-dimensional factor to Harshal Patel's
No, no, I don't
performances.
think Harshal Patel
It's
is one dimensional. I mean, it's just unfair on
just
Harshal
with
Patel
slower
to
deliveries.
be
I
calling
mean,
him one
I'll just
dimensional.
yeah,
I mean, come
because
on,
in
man.
IPL
I think that's
2021
just
he
an
was
RCB
fabulous.
fan protecting his fan favorite.
Come on, man. Harshal Patel is not one dimensional. It is one RCB fan, but yeah, he's not one dimensional. I'm gonna protect him. He's one of
But
our
then,
own,
I
as we
mean,
call it.
I would really, I mean, if you it had to select between an Arshdeep Singh and Arshdeep Singh,
Harshal
Avesh
Patel.
Khan,
Even who would you go for?
Harshal
Arshdeep
Patel,
Singh or Harshal Patel
and
right
Deepak
now?
Chahar, who would you select?
Oh, sorry, Arshdeep Singh, Deepak Chair, and
So I
Harshal
think your
Patel.
options right
And
now are Arshdeep
see,
Singh, Deepak Chahar,
uh,
Harshal Patel, and Avesh Khan. Avesh Khan
yeah,
definitely, I think all three of us agree Avesh Khan is not in the
Avesh
contention.
Khan, yeah. For me, I have
Oh, okay.
Harshal Patel as my top three seamers. If but in the World Cup, I have Harshal as my fourth seamer. In case of emergency, it'll be Arshdeep, Bhuvneshwar, and Bumrah will be my straw starters because I want Arshdeep because the very fact that his angle is different. He provides something different compared to other
I mean,
bowlers.
so would you not go for a Mohammad Shami, for instance? There was a lot
I
of talk
won't.
among the
I won't. I
commentators.
won't. Because when you have Bhuvaneshwar Kumar, I won't go for Mohammad Shami. You need one of those bowlers bowling in the top four and finishing their quota off. If Arshdeep and Bumrah,
I think
they
when you're
both
playing
finish off their
Bhuvneshwar
death
Kumar,
overs.
even
Bhuvaneshwar,
Deepak Chahar does not find a place in the team because he's not the
yeah,
best of
Yes.
your
because as
death
long
over
as
bowlers.
Bhuvi is there, either one swing bowler makes it into the team. It's either
Yeah.
Bhuvaneshwar Kumar or nobody else. Harshal Patel is not a swing bowler. Harshal Patel can bowl in the middle overs. That's what it'll be a cut. It'll be a cut off between Harshal Patel and Harshdeep Singh rather than Harshal Patel or Bhuvaneshwar Kumar, Harshal Patel and Deepak Chahar. So for me, the competitors, Bumrah is like sure shot. Like there's no competition for Bumrah at all because there's nobody in the
So is
world
Bhuvneshwar
for
Kumar, I
Bumrah.
think, with the form that he's in.
Yeah,
So two
absolutely.
of
But
them
then,
are sure
if
shot.
at all, if there is any issue, like if Bhuvaneshwar Kumar, if God forbid nothing happens to him, if at all there's a niggle, if I have to compete with Bhunesh Kumar, in Bhunesh Kumar's place, someone like someone like a Deepak Chahar will come into place instead of Bhunesh Kumar. I won't have a Harshal Patel replacing Bhunesh Kumar because Deepak Chahar brings me that ability to pick up
No,
wickets
so
up
you're
front.
going with
And
Arshdeep Singh right now. You're going with
yeah,
Arshdeep
absolutely.
Singh right now based on current form. Yeah, so that's what we have been saying. That even if Harshal Patel, Harshal Patel
My
like,
point
gets
is,
fit, I don't
you
think he
call
finds
Harshal
a place in
Patel
the team.
a one-dimensional bowler. It does not make sense for me. Okay, Harshal Patel was your purple cap
No,
holder.
we
Harshal
have
Patel
been
was
very
there.
vocal about Harshal Patel's bowling. Even in that series against Ireland, I think even you agreed to me saying Harshal Patel was a
Come on,
one-dimensional
man.
at
Those are
certain times.
parks. In Dublin, those were
Even in that
absolute
series against
parks.
South Africa, we have seen
Come
at
on,
times
man. I mean,
Harshal
that's just
Patel.
unfair on Harshal Patel. Those are parks. It's like playing on those Maidans in Mumbai. And Mumbai Maidans are bigger, actually. If you go to park, it's just
Oh, we can
5 meters
we can
more
bring
than
back
what you get in
Harshal
the
Patel
park.
later.
That's the
I think
boundary in
Arshdeep
Ireland.
Singh's Yorker to Shehnawaz Dahani, the way he dismissed him, uprooted his stumps after that
See,
six was a great
I'm
comeback.
not
Arshdeep Singh
disagreeing to the
in my
fact
team, my
I'm not
top 11 right
disagreeing to the fact that Arshdeep should not be there. My point is Harshal Patel is not a one-dimensional bowler.
now.
Harshal
Yeah,
Patel
okay,
is got
okay,
an
we got
important
that,
touch.
we got that. Okay, Yorkers and slower deliveries.
No, he's got a bouncer as well. You don't watch
What
RCB
about
games. I mean, you don't watch RCB games. You watch. Who do you have? You have Shivam Mavi Nagar. No, no, I'm not going to
See,
that
all I'm gonna
discussion.
say here is
Guys,
there's a
guys,
guys?
fact
I'm
that
not
India
a
you
fan.
versus
mentioned.
Pakistan, not IPL.
This is not
Let's get
Kolkata with RCB. Let's just switch because I knew this would kick in at some stage in some way because we fight for each other. He brings some random baller, so I defend Harshal Patel, I defend Hasaranga. I know this is just me, man. Just
yeah, yeah,
leave
yeah.
that. Let's get. Well, I think we should rather talk about what happened today and what is going to be India's likely 11 going into the tournament as well. You guys reckon India is going to make any more changes into the 11? Maybe even if another game against Hong Kong. I know it's a game to qualify for India, but can India actually make a couple of changes, like bring someone like Ravichandran
Yeah,
Ashwin,
couple of
or give someone like a
I
changes,
Pankaj
think
right?
Sharma?
couple of changes,
To the back
yes.
of my mind, Rishabh Pant comes in for Dinesh Karthik. Ashwin comes in for Avish Khan. Are the two changes that I would sort of wish that India makes, because you have to give them these two game time as well. We can all three on this panel agree that these 13 players are the top. Like these 13 players are the players that are going to play. I mean, the other two players are will not get an opportunity unless somebody gets injured. So you have the 11 that played today, Ravi Ashwin and Rishabh Pant. I think these 13 players out of this, because Ravi Bishnoi and Deepak Huda, unless somebody is Deepak Huda will come in if one of the all-rounders is unfit or wants a rest. But Ravi Bishnoi right now, I don't see Ravi Bishnoi coming in. Probably
I
as a
mean, I'm not a
replacement for Chahal
fanboy.
when he's not fit.
Come on, I'm not a fanboy big time, but then
You
you
are a
know,
big time fan, bro.
when someone tries to actually punish my boys, I just get it. I just step in, But they are
Yeah,
ultimately
that is the
we all support
definition of a
team.
fanboy. Let's just move on.
Yeah, yeah. Just let's just move on. Let's just move on. I mean, ultimately they all play for India, and
See,
that's
it's
what
okay,
matters.
but it's not an issue being fanboy of RCB. It's not a crime. You can own
No,
up
it's
to
not.
it.
It's not a crime. I'm not denying it. It's a crime. Yesterday I was doing RCB kit. If you guys want to go check it out. I wore RCB kit for Hasaranga, and he did not perform as well. But he did perform. But I'm not saying that he did not perform completely or something. But yeah, this is what happens ultimately when you're talking about this. So now going ahead into the tournament, what do you guys reckon can be the biggest change possibly Pakistan can make now going ahead? Because such a tournament like this, you have a couple of your players who are injured already. You have a couple of your players who are possibly going to miss out as well. You never know how fast can these cramps actually heal. So what are the changes you're looking from a Pakistani perspective?
I think Shoaib Malik sitting in the stands tonight was very disappointing as a fan for me, because I definitely felt with this inexperienced middle order and the form that Shoaib Malik is in the domestic circuit and throughout the world wherever he's playing, Shoaib Malik was a sure shot starter. Iftikhar Ahmed really justified his place in the team, but Asif
Hmm.
Ali did not. Asif Ali is again that sort of a player who gets four sixes of 1 over and then is quiet for the next 5-6 games. So there is a bit of consistency issue with Asif Ali, not just for the Pakistani team, even for the PSL team. I think he plays for Islamabad United. He is the standing captain whenever Shadab Khan does not play, and his average in PSL is just close to 20. I think 18 or 19. Even for Pakistan, his average is close to 20. He's a finisher. He's expected to give those finishing knocks to the team. but I definitely feel that whenever Pakistan has asked Asif Ali to step up, he has stepped up just once in 6 or 7 occasions. But to have an experienced player in the form of Shoaib Malik sitting over there, I think he would have been a better fit in the top 15 and definitely in the playing 11 for Pakistan.
Absolutely.
And talking about the bowlers with the injuries that they are facing, Pakistan will definitely look to rest quite a few for the Hong Kong game because they can have it a bit easy. I think Hassan Ali
I
will
mean,
come in.
can you? Because now this is a do or die game
Yes,
for
yes,
you.
yes.
Because
I definitely think. What do you say? A Pakistani B team is definitely good enough
I
to beat
understand,
Hong
but
Kong.
then the more of when you get so complacent, it just backfires
Yeah,
so
you
bad
don't
as
have
well.
to get
That's how
complacent.
it
There
is.
is Rizwan, there is Babar Azam, there is Fakar Zaman to just score 200, 250, and then they have quality bowlers. Hassan Ali is a good bowler. Mohammad Hassan is a great bowler. I mean, they were the replacements to come in. I think they are going to get the games instead of Harris Rauf. They won't risk Harris Rauf getting injured at this stage because I had pointed it out that Harris Rauf, in the absence of Hassan Ali and Shaheen Shah Afridi, is their lead bowler. I mean, you
Hmm.
can have youngsters like Nasim Shah getting one game, missing it, even though he was
Hmm.
fabulous.
Hmm.
Dahani
Hmm.
is a tremendous
And
youngster.
Dahani will play, and you're right. I won't be surprised if they give Hassan Ali and also someone like Hasnain a chance. But then
Hasnain,
I
yeah.
don't think they will do that. I don't think they will do that because it's a do or die game for them. If something, if for Pakistan, if something goes wrong, the Pakistan, the Awam of Pakistan will be pretty angry at the board and the selection committee as well because you don't want such a thing to happen. Because I think Aisha is from Pakistan and she already says that she's scared of Afghanistan more than India. Even I am actually scared of Afghanistan pretty much because the way they've started off, they look like they mean business, man. We'll talk
So
about
I think
Afghanistan.
we
There's
are
a
going to have
fantastic thing
two
to watch.
knockout games in both the groups. I think Sri Lanka versus Bangladesh is going to be a knockout game. I'm just
Yeah.
predicting that Afghanistan wins next one, and Pakistan versus Hong
Tomorrow
Kong
you
is
have a
going
big
to be
game.
another knockout
Tomorrow
game.
you have a huge game coming in. You have Afghanistan
Yeah.
taking on Bangladesh tomorrow, so it's gonna be a do or die for Bangladesh actually. Because if Bangladesh lose tomorrow, and if they're gonna be up against a Sri Lankan team who really want a win there, so the pressure or the tide of pressure is gonna be on towards Bangladesh to win that knockout game as well. Then it's gonna be a complete knockout. Who loses goes out, and who wins actually goes ahead into the Super Four as well. So Bangladesh would want to get off the mark by getting that first win. Now let's talk, let's dwell into that Afghanistan team and also Bangladesh team for a small moment, right? Now, if it is a Super Four stage, who would you rather face as an Indian fan? Would you rather face an Afghanistan or would you rather face a Sri Lanka or Bangladesh?
I would face anyone because the current Indian team on papers is stronger
I mean,
than
of course you
those
are,
teams. I mean,
you are,
taking
you
nothing
are.
away from Afghanistan and Bangladesh. I mean, but I would definitely be
I would,
if Pakistan is out of it, not just out of it. I think India are the favorites right now because they clinched a close game against Pakistan. Pakistan are the second favorites, and definitely Afghanistan are in the running as the third favorites. I don't. It will be very difficult for Sri Lanka to qualify if Bangladesh goes on to win the game against Afghanistan because Afghanistan with that net run rate will qualify. That will put immense pressure on Sri Lanka to beat Bangladesh by a huge margin. So I definitely think that Sri Lanka right now they don't have anything on their hands. They are expecting Afghanistan to pull off a win, and then hopefully they can defeat Bangladesh in that knockout game, potential knockout game. But right now,
Absolutely.
I think Afghanistan rightly is looking very threatening. But again, it's just one game. You have to see how Afghanistan goes against Bangladesh, and then we can have this discussion. Like
I mean,
if
yeah,
they
absolutely. I mean,
dominate
makes a lot
Bangladesh,
of
I
sense.
mean,
And
yeah.
that's a fair point because one game can actually carry away fans as well, and that's why I believe Pakistani fans should not be really disappointed because it's just one game. You never know what's ahead in the tournament for you. This is what happened in Champions Trophy as well. First after first game, everybody wrote Pakistan off, but then they came back as a resurgent unit. So I know right now it's a different tournament altogether, different conditions, and look before we end the live. I just want to know your thoughts on the pitch, man. I mean, we expected Dubai to be good wickets for fast bowler, but then did you expect such a green top where the ball was actually doing quite a lot? It looked like a test match wicket rather than a T20 cricket wicket. Jaren, coming to you first up.
I like these kind of games. I really am not a big fan of a 240, 250 game where batsmen are just hitting left and right. You enjoy, I enjoy games where batsmen earn their runs and where bowlers have that 60 percentage advantage. And this is what these wickets are offering.
Yeah.
Sandipani did mention the fact that if you win the toss, you win the matches, and that's what's been happening. But today's match could have been very different, and I think uh, these pitches are really, really good pitches, and the fact that they've given a little bit of edge to bowling, these 150, 160 T20 games are really interesting to watch because these targets are not easy to chase, right? And it might look like the bowling team have a lot cut out, but because these pitches help them out, you're looking at a 160. When you look at 160 target just as 160 target, you don't think it's a lot. But when you think about the fact that the batsman had to earn that 160, then it becomes a very good match. And that's what these matches are. And I hope that these wickets remain as competitive, not only for spin, but also, and it doesn't, I think the spinners will come into play more off as the tournament progresses. But this is some really good matches. In the first two matches have been very good to watch. Obviously, the first one was a bit of a dead rubber by the end of the second innings, but this one especially, this is a great, great advertisement for India-Pakistan rivalry. If anyone wanted a testament to India-Pakistan rivalry, this is the match to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, many people will say they wanted a high scoring one, but this is it. Ball
And I
testing the
think
bat.
Jerin mentioned a very good point over there. If I on a pitch that is supporting sort of a par score of 140 and 150 in a pitch, I would rather take a pitch which has a par score of 180, 190, and if I'm set a target of 185 and the par is 180, I would rather chase that than chase 150 when the par is 150, 155. So
Hmm.
that plays a factor into the batsman's mind because you
And
have
let's
to
also
earn
not
each and every
forget,
run.
I mean, there's an interesting stat. Out of the 11 occasions where Pakistan were balled out for 140 to 150, they've defended the total actually 8 times. So
Yeah.
the task wasn't easy for India at all because they had a very good bowling attack. And let's not forget, this is actually Pakistan's home. Technically speaking, they played more cricket in UAE than anybody else. If you look in the last 1 decade, but in the recent past, there have been so much of cricket in UAE that even Indian players do feel at home because a lot of the IPL teams have played in Dubai time in and time out, and even the Indian World Cup campaign was surrounded around Dubai as well. So it's not a new thing for Indian players. But then this pitch was totally different from the Dubai wickets we usually get. There's a lot more grass in it. I think it's basically to sustain the wicket for throughout the course of the tournament. I believe there are a couple of other strips as well from the center strip. It'll be interesting to see how those strips behave as well. Tomorrow's match, I'm expecting it to be a different strip. Is tomorrow's match in Sharjah or Dubai? Just want to confirm that. If it's in Sharjah, I'm expecting a belter for wicket. If it's in Dubai, I'm expecting similar wicket as well because in Dubai it just looks like a green wicket so far, and that's why I believe tomorrow's match is going to be so important for many. I'm just taking that out. Meanwhile, tomorrow's
Yeah, I
match,
think it's in Sharjah. It's in Sharjah.
it's in Sharjah, so I think it's going to
Yeah.
be a belter. In Sharjah, you don't get green wickets. In Sharjah, it's either an absolute bad wicket where the ball is going to really stop at you, ball is not going to come at you at all. It just looks like a broken wicket, or a wicket which is going to shine where you can actually reflect yourself, where the ball is going to come in like a dream, and the boundaries are so small that if you hit, it's going to go land to the shop near outside the stadium. And I remember one of those sixes which Dhoni hit, it went straight into the shop, and the guy took the ball as well. So I remember ABD just broke a couple of car windows by smashing it here and there as well. So I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure, you know, I'm pretty sure, now it's going to be pretty interesting to watch that game tomorrow because Bangladesh have a better chance
I
playing
think
Sharjah wickets
if
than
it's gonna
playing
be
Dubai.
a
Yeah,
if it's
definitely.
gonna be a
I
turning
would
track, then
definitely
it's gonna be a
favor
really good
Bangladesh.
match.
Yeah.
If it's gonna
Yeah.
be a
Please
turning
go
point, it's
ahead.
gonna be a really good match because both the teams call spin their advantage. So you have a turning track, track which is stopping and coming. You will see both the teams playing to their strengths. It's gonna be a
Yeah,
very good match if that's the case.
But
absolutely. I mean,
I
no
also
doubt.
feel Afghanistan would have been the clear favorites if another pitch similar to Dubai would have been provided. But right now with Sharjah, I think if in high scoring games, Afghanistan like Bangladesh will be the
Yeah,
better matched. I think that is the Bangladesh will have a better chance of beating Afghanistan with high
absolutely.
scoring game. Because in low scoring
Absolutely.
games with Rashid Khan, Fazal Faruqi, Mujibur Rahman with the form that they are in, I think it
Yeah.
will be like Bangladesh will
I
get
mean, you never know
just
because then the
deeper.
Bangladesh, actually Afghanistan's bowling becomes nullified if it's a flat deck.
Definitely,
Then
yeah.
then it's going to be the better batting unit which is going to really win. And Afghanistan
And
have a
that
very
is
good
where
batting unit. I think.
Afghanistan are going to really suffer because we haven't seen what they will do if either of Rahmanullah or
Hmm.
Zazai actually
But you know
fails at the
what?
top.
You know what? To some extent, someone like Rahmanullah and Zazai is going to really enjoy batting in that wicket in Sharjah. If it's a good Sharjah
Yeah.
wicket, and that game against Scotland where these batters really set up Blaze the stage
But you can
last year
also
in the
have a
World
false
Cup.
shot really early in your innings and then everything can just go downhill
It's
from
going to be
there.
interesting to see whether they're going to continue with that all bang bang approach, because it is an approach which can, when it comes off,
Definitely
it
they are
looks
going to
very
continue
good.
with that
But when it
because they have
doesn't,
nothing to lose in the next one.
yeah. Absolutely. When it doesn't, it might look like you played really bad cricket. So it's an approach I'm glad that India did not take today for a lot of reasons. Because if India would have taken that approach today, it would have been catastrophic for a lot of reasons, because the ball was moving around quite a lot as well. I think we'll have a separate discussion on the approach and game awareness. It's a very deep topic to talk about. Thank you guys for joining. It was a beautiful discussion to have you all. Before I end the live, I just want to remind you all, there's a very big opportunity for you guys to play on Boom 11 for absolute free of cost. Play 5 of the Asia Cup matches, so you'll become a part of a raffle draw where you will get a chance to win the 5 lucky winners get a chance to win gold coins. So you don't want to miss out on that, right? Get onto the app right now, download and make your team right now for tomorrow's game. And day after tomorrow, India is taking on Hong Kong as well. I think it's actually tomorrow. We're late into the night today as well, so it's actually tomorrow India taking on Hong Kong, and today Afghanistan are taking on
No, it's not today. I think
Bangladesh.
today is a rest day. Tomorrow, Afghanistan will be taking on Bangladesh, and then the day after that, day after tomorrow, it's India versus Hong Kong. We have a
I
rest day
mean,
on 29th.
yeah. So it's gonna be interesting to see where this game is actually gonna pan out to be, because tomorrow is a rest day, is it? No.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Today is a rest day. 29th, there is no game. Afghanistan Bangladesh is on the 30th, and
Yeah,
31st
yeah,
is
right,
India
Yeah,
right.
and
yeah. Correct,
Today is
correct,
a
correct.
rest day.
I mean, weird. I mean, I don't like rest days in cricket actually. Whenever there's a rest day in
You do
in
realize,
IPL,
I mean, the lack of rest is the reason why a lot of cricketers are suffering.
come on, man. I'm a huge
You need
advocate of
rest
it.
days, Abel. Too much
Guys, you
of
don't want to
anything
fake
can
your
be bad.
intensity, guys. Guys, you should not fake your intensity,
but
guys. Come on.
we went on for 2 months straight in the IPL. So we are not really accustomed to having
I
rest
don't like
days
rest days,
in
man.
between
I swear
tournaments.
I
Yeah.
don't like rest days, because of the very reason that when the cricket action gets going and all of a sudden you see a rest day, it's like dropping the intensity. I know it helps us as well to come back and actually watch the match and analyze it better. Aisha, yeah, you've asked a question: Are we Indians or Pakistanis? We are Indians, but we support good cricket. That's the difference between us. We
And
like
we
good
also
cricket.
support Team India.
Oh yeah, we do. Absolutely, we do. Absolutely, we do. There's no doubt about that. We do support Team
But
India.
that, I mean, we do support Indian team outside the box that you're seeing here. I mean, here we are very impartial. We just support good cricket. But of course, once we log off, we are, I mean, down and down Indian fans.
Definitely.
Guys, I think there's a slight issue. I'm not able to end the live today. There's some issue. I don't want the whole night today.
So I
Guys, just
think it is
wait.
not going to be a rest day after all.
If it happens like this, it's gonna continue to be in the live. I think I should just rejoin and see if I can end the live, or else it's just massive. It's just a chaotic situation for
Till
me right now.
then, let me just remind you, it's Afghanistan versus Bangladesh next, and I think it's a potential knockout for Bangladesh. They have to take it like that because Bangladesh are going to face Sri Lanka next. If Bangladesh lose to Afghanistan, it's going to be a knockout between Bangladesh and Sri Lanka. The game between Bangladesh and Sri Lanka is a potential quarterfinal, and also India against Hong Kong is on the 31st. If India wins, we also have another knockout in Group A as well. It is going to be Hong Kong versus
Guys,
Pakistan.
I really think we have to continue the whole night now. Guys, I'll just rejoin. I want you both to continue the discussion meanwhile. It just
Yeah,
looks
yeah,
like
yeah.
a
Fine.
chaotic
So
moment for
I think
me.
we are going to have two potential knockouts at the later half of the group stage games, and then of course in this format we are not going to have semifinals and finals. It is a very innovative approach. It's a very unique concept. We are
Yeah, I
going to
mean,
have super fours.
it is a
Yeah,
way of creating a cash cow for BCCI. You
we
have to
will
say it.
not go over
The
there.
fact
We'll
that
not go over there. We'll stay clean. I think
the
it's
fact
a
that
very good
I think
opportunity
the
for
idea
players.
here is to get Indian players to play as many matches as possible. It helps the
Not just
TRP
Indian
rating, which is
players,
something that we
it's an
see.
approach to get Pakistan players, Afghanistan players, and potentially Sri
Yeah,
Lanka or
yeah.
Bangladesh players to play more games as well. And I definitely feel, yeah, the cash is an
See, I
added
mean, I
bonus.
want to ask this question for a long time, and now that we have that extra time, since Abel is figuring out how it
Yeah,
all works, this has been issue, right? So I think this all started for 2019 World Cup, if I'm not wrong, when they had the league stage where they reduced the teams to 10
yeah,
teams. And I think before we used to have close to 16 teams, if I'm not wrong.
yeah,
That
and
was
we
the
used to
stage.
do
I,
we used to
I
do
like that format of the World Cup because even if you look at the FIFA, I mean, if you look at the football side, right, there is no such issues, right? It's a knockout tournament where every team plays the same amount of matches. But when you have 10 match tournaments or an Asia Cup here, someone like a Kuwait or a UAE is missing out. How
But
will
that
they
is
come?
okay. But the point is that in 2015 they tried to have 14 teams and divided into two groups of seven. Most of the matches where some of the weaker teams are playing against the stronger teams, there is rarely any upset, and it sort of becomes one-sided. Chris Gayle scored that double century. Martin Guptill scored double century. We were having 400s, and people usually lose interest when two sort of very vast, like their skill set is very varied, and it is not an equal match,
But
and
then,
people
I mean,
usually lose
don't
interest.
you agree that if we don't have these associate nations play this level of cricket, then we'll never see them
Yeah.
rise up to the level of cricket that we want. Because at the
No,
end
I
of the day,
understand what you're
as
saying, but then
cricket,
they have to have the 2007 World Cup format. You remember with 16 teams, they divided into four
yes.
groups,
So
and then they had
correct,
to
correct.
qualify.
Yeah, I
But
think
the
that
problem
that's
with
the
that
best
is again
format.
it gets boring. Yeah,
When you have a pure knockout format where you don't have these teams play more matches than what is required, because that is more competitive as well. Because then a team which wins the World Cup is fighting it out, right? They can't have any mistakes. It's a team which has done really well for that duration of period and that time period. And for example, Bangladesh, right? The fact that in 2015 and then I'm talking about Bangladesh 2015 and
I think the
2007.
resurgence of Bangladesh's like cricket resurgence, not resurgence, their growth in cricket started with the 2007 World Cup, and I think
Yes,
the format was a
yes. So
lot to
when
do
you
with it.
have, so for example, when you have this kind of cricket tournaments which is held where even a minion, even a small country, if they do well on that particular day, then they're rewarded for it. And of course, when a
Yeah,
team does well, then the spectators watching, the younger kids watching would love to get into the sport. Right. So don't you
definitely.
agree that this fact that BCCI, the top three nations, I'm not just blaming India here.
Yeah.
BCCI definitely has a big hand to play here. But the fact that this is a bit of a narrow-minded approach that is coming into play when it
No,
comes to these
I
big
think
tournaments.
BCCI, not just BCCI, I think the ICC went with the wrong sort of decision. They had a 16-team tournament way back in 2007 where teams were divided into four, and there were four groups. Two teams were qualifying into the Super Eights, but then again it got boring in the Super Eights where each team was playing each and every team. It just the time
So
period was expanded.
instead of that, why don't you just have like the four teams playing? 16 teams, and then you just
And then
have
eight
the
teams playing
semi-finals and
quarterfinals.
finals.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, I think that would have been a better approach. They
yes.
experimented with that into 2011, and then 2015 they sort of brought another
So
new approach
2011
where
was
they
a very
divided
good
it
World
into
Cup.
two groups.
2011 was a great World Cup. We
Yeah,
had Ireland
2011
defeat
was a great World Cup,
England.
and I think 2011 they used the same format that they used in 2003, and I think that is the
Yes.
best format to go with it because you have 16
2003 is
teams.
a very good example. So you had India perform really well. 2003,
Yeah,
India was not the world beaters they are today. But
yeah.
they had a great team, but they were not the world beaters they are today. And they did well. They came into the finals. That team must have inspired so many generations going forward.
But I think the problem with that is if you are having eight teams in each group playing each other one time, like if it's a round robin of 16 teams, then the matches, like we are supposed to have eight teams in one group where four teams are India, Pakistan, New Zealand, Sri Lanka, and where the other four teams are teams like Hong Kong, Afghanistan, Netherlands, and then what happens is the four teams find it very difficult. They have a bad time, and if suppose I am from India, I am going to Australia to watch the World Cup. I will not go to watch New Zealand versus Netherlands when I know it's a dead rubber and New Zealand is just trashing Netherlands. So I think the Australian board lost quite a bit in the
Yeah,
2015 World
so
Cup,
my
and then
question
they
being this,
yeah.
Salibani, the fact that the actual choices right now that the boards are facing is money, right? They're facing the fact that they can earn money and the fact that the game can grow. And I think the boards are choosing to earn money in short term period because if the game goes, let's say, to 32 countries, that's just going to help the game grow in the long
Yeah,
term.
but
It's
that
not
is
going
not
to
going to bring them
help the
money.
boards. Yeah, it's not making money for these executives who are going to sit for 3 years, 4 years. They want, and that's one of the things that we need to look at in cricket, right? I really hate
I think
the
what you
structure
bring
that we
about is
have
a
in
very
cricket.
good point, but that would have been very like prominent.
So
It is very prominent in football because you don't have two or three organizations dominating the FIFA,
yes,
dominating FIFA.
yes, yes.
But you have
So
BCCI, England Cricket Board, and Australian Cricket Board dominating ICC. So the decision rests on them. So you
So
can't
my
really do
point,
anything
so
about
now
it.
that's the reason why I feel cricket is going towards that, the franchise model of things, where
Yeah.
Trent Bolt is a very good example. He's, I think, recently asked New Zealand to let him go of the center contract so he can go and play these franchise tournaments. And you might suddenly have what I think Abel mentioned a long time back. These players actually, one of the conglomerates taking up, for example, so Rajasthan Royals is doing this all around the world right now.
Yeah.
A player is signing for Rajasthan Royals, and then every tournament, whichever, so then Trent Bolt becomes a Rajasthan Royals player or a Royals
I
player
think we
rather
had
than a
this
New
sort of
Zealand
a
player.
surge in World Series. We used to have World Series way back in the 80s and 90s, where people used to sort of play for their countries, but they used to like not be affiliated to the ICC. So
Yes,
I think it was not ICC back then. So whatever. So they used to defy their boards and join these sort of league stages. But then again, the problem with these things is once you keep the boards out of it, and once they realize that you are just going behind their back and making the money, minting that money, they're going to ban you from international cricket. If you ask players from Rajasthan Royals, like if you ask the Indian players, none of the Indian players will go abroad and have a contract
but
if they
that's just
are.
because Indian board is so rich. What about the West
Yeah.
Indies board? West Indies board is a very good example. They've had so many players leave their boards and play for these franchises now, and the fact that these three boards, I'll go back to the same argument that I brought. The fact that India, Australia, and England are retaining so much of the revenue. New Zealand, West Indies, South Africa, Zimbabwe, for example. Zimbabwe is another prime example.
Yeah.
Actually, one of the first boards that have faced this major issue. Like their players are only playing in county.
Definitely, because everybody is at the end of the day, everybody is out here to make money, and the players realize whatever they'll earn from the board, they can earn way more
So
playing these sort of domestic tournaments, league tournaments. And I think bringing about this sort of franchise cricket, introducing the international league T20, the T20 league for South Africa, what you are doing is you are encouraging players. Suppose for international league T20, it is going to clash with the South African league, the T20 league of South Africa. It is going to clash with the Big Bash league. It is going to clash with the Bangladesh Premier League. So you will not have all your prime players playing in one league. So that gives a lot of opportunity to teams like Zimbabwe, Netherlands to have players like Tom Cooper, Ryan Bird, getting to play this sort of tournaments. Tom Cooper has played all across the world, but you would like to see a Max O'Dowd or a Vikramjit Singh
yeah,
play in the International League T20, gain that recognition, have those funds, and like sort of build their
yeah,
career.
and these players
Yeah.
will also. So, example, I think CSK is the one who requested BCCI to let MS Dhoni be one of the mentors for their franchise team in the South African Cricket League, and they, of course, get the permission. But if they did, then all those players who are coming out of South Africa could suddenly, enrich themselves thanks to MS Dhoni.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, whatever you said, it brings a very good point out there. But then we have been seeing players like not players. I mean, boards like the top three boards dominating ICC, and this is going to continue. And I think the
Yeah, I mean,
BCCI,
even
all these
Australia is
richer
facing that
boards are
issue
getting
now.
richer, and the poor boards are getting poorer. And it
So
was
now,
very sad to see the West Indies cricket board, the coach, come out and say, I will not beg players to come and play for my team. That was actually very sad to see that.
yeah, I mean, so even Australia now, for example, David Warner almost signed for International League T20. He, of course, said that his daughter wanted to see him play at home, but we all know that is just a reason he's giving, where there's a lot of layers to that reasoning. The fact that they almost lost someone like David Warner to a foreign T20 league and not to BBL, of that is their own league. So players, at the end of the day, the game will evolve because it's entertainment itself. We look at cricket as sport, but more than sport, it is going to be entertainment itself, and entertainment is going to follow where the money goes. So I am asking you this question now: do you see maybe in the next 10, 15 years a franchise based league structure in international cricket?
Yeah, it's definitely a possibility, but then we have had like long discussion on the fact that is the ODI cricket
Hello,
dying, and are
hello,
we going to
guys.
see
I'm back.
more of this franchise cricket? Yeah,
I'm back.
even
I'm
I
waiting
just
Yeah,
for
have to
you.
go. My charge is
this
almost dead. I was
this
just waiting
laptop
for
is
you.
going to shut down.
Yeah.
I
My
think.
laptop is
I know,
almost
I
going
know.
to
We
shut
are,
down.
we are running
Thanks
late.
for having me. It was a great night. I am going to sleep peacefully because India won, and I definitely think Pakistan will come back really strongly against Hong Kong. Till then, we'll
Absolutely.
again catch you up
Yeah.
on the Bangladesh Afghanistan game. Till then, bye bye. Good night.
Adnan, I lost my connection. We could end the live. This would have gone on till morning 5 if things would have been bad. So, yeah, it's one of the biggest stream. And thank you all for sharing your love, showing your love. There were some great comments. Great to have people from across the globe, across the borders as well. Thank you. Many people, we have been noting on names so that we have some constant voices. And people from Afghanistan joined us, people from Sharjah joined us, people from Australia and UK joined us. So love you all. Keep coming again. Subscribe to our channel if you haven't already, and like this video as well, and share it to many people so that we can actually bring more of this content. Thank you, Jaren. Have a good night. Bye bye.
Thank you, Abel. Thank you.